Right, before we get started with this episode of Fourth Tier Fever, please be sure to subscribe and to hear more about what we're doing. Be the first to hear about everything we are doing, and of course, we've got lots of content on the way. Although we're here for our season finale, which is it's a bit of a quiz, really, and in a first for Fourth Tier Fever, we have literally all five of us. We're all here. Somehow I've been put in charge, but we'll run with it. But let's introduce yourselves. So, Kieran, how are you doing, mate?
All I'm going to say is you pitched this idea ages ago and said you would host him. So your argument of somehow I've been put to host this, that is lies, and I will not take it. But I'm fantastic. Other than the fact that I just got home from rugby and I'm in incredible amounts of pain.
Oh, well, that's fun. Well, to be fair, I think I've been quite smart about this because, as I mentioned, it is a quiz, so we're putting your guys' knowledge to the test. I am perfectly safe here. My reputation, if I even had one, is safe.
Your one's low enough.
You guys are being put under pressure.
Your one's low enough anyway. Have you seen Facebook?
Who cares? Anyway, Jake, you're also here. How are you, mate?
I'm great. We've had nothing competitive for a month, and now we've got this quiz, so it'd be nice to do something competitive and get back in the swing of it.
I'll say you've got like a little notepad and everything. You're very competitive for this one, so total embarrassment if you go out first. Really, just saying.
Hold on, that's cheat. You have a notepad in front of you.
You can tell
that is cheating. This needs to be. We need to go to VAR about this. Go to the higher officials. This is cheating. I will not have it.
Taking notes on this is not going to help you in any way, shape, or form. So good luck with that anyway. Jack, you're also here. How are you?
Yeah, I like football not happening for a while. It's always nice and relaxing.
Well, yeah, I suppose if in the case of a Tranmere fan, but I don't know, things were looking on the up towards the end a little bit, kind of.
Yeah. I'm excited for next season. We'll see.
Well, yeah, that's the story for next season, and of course, our usual host. We've got Jordan as well. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Looking to beat Kieran again in this because I'm already one up against him in quizzes this season for something else that we've done. As long as I can just beat him, I don't really care what happens here.
Oh, you know what? Originally I said before recording, I'm just going to go out first, let everyone else have a chance. But now that Jordan said that, I can't lose. Can't lose. Can't lose, won't lose. Not to Jordan anyway.
Well, we'll see how it goes with this format because, well, I suppose I'll explain it now just so it all makes sense. Essentially, you're going to have, 2 minutes to answer questions in sort of like a knockout style format. You'll take turns answering. For the first round, we'll just go as it is on screen. So for the sake of example, you'd start with Kieran and we'd say, who won the league? And you'd tell us.
Omar Bogle.
Sure, why not? You might not last very long like that. And then you'd move on to Jake. So who won the Golden Boot?
Michael G.
Exactly. You're kind of getting the idea here, and it will just carry on in that nature. But just for the sake of giving everyone a turn, Jack, who were the biggest bottlers?
Walsall, easily.
Had to clip from you a little bit there. And Jordan, who's the biggest team in the league?
It's those mighty Mariners, Grimsby Town.
I
was expecting that. It's definitely not MK Dons. If that was what you were trying to
the correct answer is MK Dons, but I digress.
Wrong answer.
We are not having answers based on opinions, Luke.
Just for the sake of example, don't worry. It gets much more quote unquote accurate later on.
Maybe I'm older.
Well, yeah, but anyway, we've got 2 minutes of answering those questions. After that 2 minutes are up, you will essentially get to vote out whoever you want. You all get a say. You can all vote out whoever you want, for whatever reason. Maybe you want to vote out your strongest competition. Maybe you just want to make someone look very silly. Who knows? But obviously, then one of you will eventually disappear. That will go down to 3 people. We'll repeat the process, have another knockout round, And at the end, we'll have our own little penalty shootout of questions at the end, where there's a little bit of a twist, but we'll come to that later. The only other thing to mention is, unless stated otherwise, all of these questions will be exclusively to do with the league itself, so cup competitions, unless mentioned, aren't involved. Simple enough, right?
You're a very good quiz master, Luke. I'm liking it.
Hey, as you said, I've had this plan for months in my head. I've tried to cover every eventuality there is, so
It's
we'll
a
see
nice
how it
hosted
goes.
countdown, you lot. That's incredible.
But yeah, so well, I suppose we're going to call this the worst host. If you kind of get the idea of what I watched quiz show, this is kind of knocking off a little bit. But anyway, I think let's get on with it, and let's find out who doesn't know their Taylor Allens from their Tom Allens.
Jordan.
Okay.
And who thinks Port Vale is a type of wine? My terrible jokes, you're going to have to deal with them, I'm afraid. But anyway, as I said, so Kieran, you will be going first. And if we're ready, your time starts now. So, including interims, how many managers have MK Dons had this season?
Oh, including interims, right? I'm going to think of this logically. So we started off with Mr. XG himself. Then you had Lindsay. Then you had, I think you had an interim then in between. Did you have an interim in between Lindsay? Is it just 3? No, Paul 1 counts, right? Does Paul 1 count?
Taking a lot of time already.
Yeah, well, we'll go 4.
No, the correct answer was 5.
That's 5. There was never a manager in between. Okay,
So, Jake, which League Two team progressed furthest in the FA Cup this season?
I have no idea. I'm going to say Salford. I have no idea.
It was Doncaster. Jack, how many goals did Nathan Lowe score for Walsall? 13, 15, or 17?
17.
No, 15. Once the season started, who was the first manager to be sacked?
Oh, Jesus. You have to
Really tested me, guys.
Oh, no, it's Paul Simpson, I think.
Correct. Well, hey, we got one. Kieran, who scored more goals, Albert Adoma or Kyle Hudlin?
That's horrible. No, it's got to be Kyle Hudlin, isn't it? Surely.
It is Kyle Hudlin, correct. Which team drew the most games, Jake?
Fleetwood?
Colchester. Jack, who was Morecambe's top scorer?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Who was Morecambe's top scorer?
It would be Guion Edwards.
Lee Angle.
Oh.
Jordan, which team conceded the least amount of goals?
It's your favourite team, if
Correct. Wow, that was 2 minutes already. That was very quick. I feel like we should probably keep it going. Should we increase it to 5 for the sake of it?
Feel free.
I didn't plan for this eventuality. There we go. Kieran, who was the second highest goal scorer in the league?
Second highest, Michael Cheek. I'm going to go Luke Molyneux.
Alassane Jatta. Jake, true or false? The number of games Accrington won is fewer than the amount of yellow cards picked up by their defender, Donald Love.
Higher. Lower.
Well, it's a true or false.
So false.
True. They had 12 wins and Love got 14 yellow cards.
I need to know about League Two. This is terrible.
Jack, which team finished 13th? That's an easy one.
There's so many teams that are in that sort of bracket. Crewe.
Correct. Including cup competitions, what was the highest number of goals conceded by a League Two club in a single game?
Single game? Oh, 8.
8, of course, it was Salford versus Man City. Had to get that in.
Yes.
Kieran, who was Gillingham's top scorer?
Who was Gillingham's top scorer? God. They didn't score many. That's my issue. I don't know. I'm just going to say Bradley Dack. I don't have a clue.
No, Jaden Clark with 7 goals. Jake, which team won the most penalties? This is a bit of a random one.
Doncaster.
Swindon, apparently. Jack, who scored more goals? Jamie Jealous or Kyle Hudlin?
Did Kyle Hudlin score a goal? Jamie Jealous.
Kyle Hudlin.
I guess he did.
Jordan, which team averaged the lowest amount of possession?
No idea. Morecambe? Bromley. Yeah, makes sense.
Who was the only Bradford player to feature in Team of the Season?
Was the only Bradford? Oh, no, because I read this a little while ago. Oh, now I don't have a clue. Richie Smallwood.
Correct. Very nice. Jake, which team received the most yellow cards?
Accrington.
Correct. You've done your research. Jack, Denver Hume and Luke Molyneux were joint for the most assists. How many assists did they have each?
I think it'll be about 14.
12, and that was the final question of the round. So, I mean, it was
poor.
It was a bit of a slow start. Let's be real.
That was terrible. Do we end? I think we end the podcast here, boys. This is
really
so
I purposely made it difficult because I know you guys know your stuff, so I can't just give you easy questions the whole time. Unfortunately, but I mean, we did pick up a little bit. I don't know, but anyway, all of you have a little bit of a think. Is there anyone in particular that you want out this round? And maybe I'll monologue for a little bit longer, just while you ponder it and decide who you really want gone.
I want. Can we get rid of everyone? Because that was bad. No, because didn't we all get the same amount of questions right? I'm pretty sure. I think Jordan had 3, and he got 2 right, and then the rest of us had 4 and got 2 right. I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
It's a tricky one.
I've got my answer because I'm not very happy. I'm not very happy with someone.
If you have like a pen or paper or phone or anything, do you want to write it down so you can hold it up? Get some visuals.
Well, everything's all packed away because I'm moving house in a few days, so it's going to have to be my phone. But I've already got a name written down.
All at the same time. I think.
That's me then, isn't it? Let's be fair. That's just me.
Are we ready? Let us know. Are we all ready to vote out the first person?
Give me 17 years.
Unfortunately, I don't think we have that long.
No. We'll go. Yeah, good point. But I'm gonna. Hopefully this will show. I probably won't. I'm ready when you guys are.
We all ready?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Let's say on 3. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Show.
Now, Kieran. Oh, Jordan.
Kieran.
So Kieran's out.
Appears to be 2 votes for Kieran.
I put.
Do you have any reasoning for voting Kieran out?
He's probably one of the strongest competitors. And
why didn't he get Jordan? He beat me in a quiz. Why didn't he get rid of Jordan?
If the questions are on Newport,
I'm still probably going to get them wrong.
I mean, to be fair, that first question alone, you must have used at least 20 seconds there, just pondering, like, all the time in
Yeah,
the
but
world.
you gotta understand, the season ended like stupidly long ago. I'm out of football brain, but here we are.
Yeah, but time is of the essence. When you're under the clock,
Should have
sometimes you
answered
just got
all
to
my vocals,
get
all
that
of them.
answer
You
out
did take the
there.
Mickey.
Hmm?
You did take the Mickey a little bit.
You're welcome.
Sure.
Well, unfortunately, if that's everything everyone's got to say to Kieran, then
Yeah, you know what? The only thing I will say is I hope Jake doesn't win because he's been a little gremlin who's cheated, and I don't want Jordan to win either. Jack, you're my favourite. Go and win the game, even though you voted me out.
lovely last words there, I suppose. But unfortunately, Kieran, that is the end of the road for you, and
Bye.
you are the worst host. Goodbye.
Yes.
Right, let's move it on and get
Literally is
into
as well with him being last.
what was that?
If Luke was still in here, all I'm saying, if Luke was in here, he could theoretically be the worst.
Hey, I don't make the rules. Well, actually, no, I do make the rules, don't I?
You do.
Oh well, sucks to
You've
be
done
you.
this.
Well, I think let's move on and get into the next round, which is of course another knockout round. And I think we'll stick with the with a 5 minute time because I think 3 minutes, as we very quickly discovered, or 2 minutes was not very long, especially when certain individuals are taking about 20 seconds per question.
Quickly looking at people.
But anyway, let's just go again. So it's time to find out who thinks there's a statue of Nelson Jardine in Trafalgar Square. These don't get any better, do they? They really don't. And who thinks the ticket price to a Walsall home game is £1?
Look. By the way, their partnership ended with Poundland the other day.
I
You can't
know.
make that
It's
thing
the
up.
worst timing. I've had that written for ages as well. I know it sounds like it doesn't take me long to come up with this stuff, but I'm not a comedian, so so there you go. But anyway, let's get on with the second round. And well, we'll carry on in this order where we left off. So Jordan, you will answer the first question. Okay.
Right.
So your time starts now. Which team lost the most games?
Morecambe.
Correct. Jake, who was the highest scoring player for a fourth tier Fever team?
Stockton? No.
Danny Rose.
What a boy.
Jack, who scored more goals? Omar Bogle or Kyle Hudlin?
Omar Bogle.
Kyle Hudlin.
Oh my god.
John, which team picked up the most red cards?
Salford.
Doncaster.
Aye.
Jake, how many goals did Michael Cheek score? 25, 27 or 29?
25?
Correct. Jack, true or false? Cheltenham won more games than they lost.
False.
False. It was 16 wins and 18 losses. Correct. Jordan, who got the most assists for Barrow?
Ben Jackson.
Correct. Jake, name one of the 4 League Two clubs that made it to the third round of the EFL Cup.
EFL Cup. Did Doncaster make the EFL Cup?
They did not. The correct answers were AFC Wimbledon, Barrow, Fleetwood, and Walsall. Jack, who scored more goals, Samson Tavide or Kyle Hudlin?
Kyle Hudlin. I can't not say him.
Tavide. That's worked brilliantly. John, which team scored the most goals?
Walsall.
Correct. Jake, who was Colchester's top scorer?
Jack Payne.
Lyle Taylor. Jack, which team won 15, drew 15, and lost 16 with a goal difference of 0?
Ooh.
Very poetic.
I always thought it was going to be Cheltenham, but you said not, so Fleetwood.
Fleetwood, correct. Jordan, who kept more clean sheets? Harrogate's James Belshaw or Accrington's Will Crellin?
James Belshaw.
Crellin. Jake, who scored Chesterfield's only goal in the playoffs?
No idea. Ollie Banks it wasn't, but I have no idea.
Armando Dobra. Jack, which team conceded the most goals this season?
Morecambe.
Newport. Jordan, Gillingham finished the season on an unbeaten run of how many? 10, 11, or 12?
11?
12. Jake, only one manager was awarded Manager of the Month twice. Who was it?
Darren Moore.
Darren Moore, correct. Jack, who scored more goals for Cheltenham? Jordan Thomas or Ethan Archer?
I think Jordan Thomas scored against us, so I'm going to go with him.
Jordan Thomas, correct. Jordan, Walsall went on a horrendous run without a win that started in February. How many games did they go without winning?
February. 12?
Very close, 13. Jake, who was the top scoring player from the teams that earned automatic promotion?
Billy Sharp.
Luke Molyneux. Jack, of the teams in the top half, who kept the fewest clean sheets?
Grimsby.
Correct. Jordan, how many players received more than one red card this season? 10 or 12?
10.
8. Jake, who was the highest scoring defender?
Taylor Allen.
Correct. Jack, who kept more clean sheets for Fleetwood? David Harrington or Jay Lynch?
David Harrington.
Lynch. 8-7, unfortunately. Jordan, name the 3 teams with higher than 58% average possession.
MK Dons, Carlisle probably, and Notts County.
You got 2 out of 3, unfortunately. So MK Dons and Notts County were correct. The third was Chesterfield. And unfortunately, that is time up for the second round. I think we got into a bit more of a rhythm that time. I don't know. How are you guys feeling about that round? Was that a bit better?
That's some right stinkers.
I feel like I fluked that. I don't know how I got through with some correct.
Yeah, I was abysmal.
I've just hit the post on loads, haven't I?
Yeah, you won off a couple of times. I think it's also worth looking back at Jack's woes with Kyle Hudlin.
I think we need to. How many goals does he have? I feel like we might need to sign him next season.
He got 6.
Oh, okay, never mind.
The three players before all had 5, and Tabine had 7. So it was very, very close. It was there to trick you, and unfortunately for you, it did. But have a little think, because now you've got to knock someone else out. It's a tricky decision. Or maybe it's not. Maybe you've got something in mind already. Maybe there's someone you really don't want to face in this penalty shootout at the end. It's a tricky one. I would give you the statistics on who did well and who didn't, but I don't know them. So it's all down to you. It's all down to you. And let us know when you're ready.
Ready.
Do we have it all written down?
Yeah.
Can I just have a clue? Can I just give out a clue before you say? It is a name that's 4 letters long. It begins with J.
Oh, difficult.
Oh, so you haven't voted yourself. Interesting to know.
Thankfully not. It's not 4 letters.
Well, I think we're all ready. So here we go. On 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, Jack, can't see. That's 2 votes for Jack. Do we have any reasoning behind this, Jake and Jordan? Any reasoning for voting Jack
Just the
out?
huddling questions. No,
It's too
can't
strong.
let that slide.
That's valid. That's valid. I appreciate that.
That's fair, Jake. Any additional reasoning?
He's too strong and he's going to win. So
It's a good thing we don't follow the actual show in this because there's no money involved. Otherwise, we'd be in a lot of trouble right now. But unfortunately, Jack, do you have any last words?
Not really. Just Kyle Hudlin, I guess.
Kyle Hudlin is life, apparently. The bane of your very existence. But unfortunately for you, Jack, that is the end. So, yeah, you are the worst host. Goodbye.
I have
And
to
then
say
over to
that I think I've dodged a bullet actually with some of the questions. I think I got last 4 wrong, so I count myself a little bit lucky actually in the fact that none of Jake or Jack voted for me. But we roll with it.
I think you were unfortunate as well. All the toughest questions,
Yeah,
I feel like kind of landed on you.
There was most of it, with the greatest respect, I'm not trying to big myself up. I was even the ones that Jake and Jack were getting. It's like, yeah, I sort of know that. It's like, yeah, who's had the most possession or stuff like that. Like,
possession was harsh.
It was harsh, but I feel like it was one that you could figure out, at least with the lowest possession. I feel like that because it was just the one team. I feel like Bromley have been very, very good sort of without the ball. But then I suppose there's a few teams like that. Walsall have been a bit like that at times, but Bromley do it to the extreme.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, as I said, we're down to 2, which means it is our penalty shootout. And this is where there's a little bit of a twist. So up until now, the lads have been answering questions to cover the entirety of League Two and everything that's happened. But now these guys are in the final. The questions are based on their own teams. So Jake will be answering questions on Salford, and Jordan will be answering questions on Grimsby. So if you get any wrong now, then fake fan. Calling it now.
We've done the ultimate fake fan that supports the fake club. Yeah, all right.
I'll have no comments against the host. Thank you very much. But I think let's get on with it. I would try and figure out who the strongest host from that last round was, but I think it was probably Jake. I don't need to add it up. I think it was pretty clear. So Jake, you will be going first for this head-to-head in this penalty shootout. Of course, you don't really need me to explain how a penalty shootout works. It's just best of 5. And if we're still going after that, then I guess sudden death for a little bit. And I do have tiebreaker questions if need be. So, Jake, your first question on Salford. Who got the most assists for Salford?
Ben Woodburn.
Correct. He got 7 assists. Jordan. Let me find my Grimsby questions. Here we go. Denver Hume had the most assists for Grimsby, but who had the second most?
Kieran Green.
Correct. Who also had 7 assists, actually, believe it or not. This is where my planning does not quite work because your questions are separated slightly, but here we go. There we go. Okay, Jake. How many goals did Salford score this season? 57, 61, or 64?
57.
64. The first mistake has been made. Jordan, who scored Grimsby's final goal of the season?
Danny Rose.
Correct. It was Danny Rose against Port Vale. Back over to Jake. What was the highest amount of goals Salford scored in one game?
3.
4 versus Colchester.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Back over to you, Jordan. How many penalties did Grimsby score this season? 6, 7, or 8?
I'm gonna say 6.
7.
7.
It's a tricky one though. There's only a couple in it, isn't there?
Yeah.
So
Rosie took pretty much all of them, but no, Rosie missed against Tranmere. That was it. Yeah. He's pretty much
unfortunately, no point for getting that bit right.
Yeah, I know, but that's more showing off that a little bit. But
trying to redeem yourself. Jake, who picked up the most yellow cards for Salford?
Curtis Till?
Osama Ashley. 14.
I should
joint
know
most in the division with Donald
Yeah, he
Love
got
from that question
14.
before. We're faltering a little bit now, aren't we? It's still close, still all to play for. Jordan, who did Grimsby score the most goals against across the 2 league games?
Accrington Stanley.
Correct. You beat them 5-2 and then lost 3-2, but obviously 5 plus 2, 7.
Quick maths.
Exactly. Now, if I'm correct, where are we at? So, Jordan, you got 3 correct already. And Jake, you're in. Oh, hold up. Was that it already?
I think so.
You've lost that now, haven't you?
I'm struggling to balance it at the same time because Jake, you've got 1 correct. Is that right?
Yeah, 1 or 2.
Yeah. So, yeah, most assists for Salford you got correct. How many did you score? You got wrong. What was the highest amount of goals you scored? You got wrong. And then you got the yellow cards wrong as well. So that ended up being a bit anticlimactic, but it's a pretty, well, that's a demolition job. Let's be real. That was it's over already. You cannot win. I mean, for the sake of it, you can answer your final question anyway if you want to. Redeem yourself.
Yeah, go on then. I'll try.
I won't do that one because that's mean because you've already lost. I'll tell you what, Salford went on a winning run in December. How many games in a row did they win?
6.
It was 6. You beat Notts County, Accrington, Barrow, Morecambe, Harrogate, and of course, my lot, MK Dons. And just to round things off very nicely at the end, Jordan, your final question. Who conceded less goals, Jake Eastwood or Jackson Smith?
Less goals? Jackson Smith, I think.
Jake Eastwood conceded 6 to Smith's 11.
Doesn't matter.
But it doesn't matter. You have already won. So there you go. Unfortunately, Jake, that does mean your time in this quiz is over and you are the worst host. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
And we are left with our champion.
Absolutely gutted backstage is that I've won. I could just
You're on
tell.
a bit of a run here. Like, I can't believe that you had that other quiz elsewhere. You won that, and you've come here with more competition, and you've done the same, despite the whole controversy of all of those second round questions.
I feel like I've given it the big I am at times, and I've managed to prevail again. So I can pretty much talk the talk. What I feel,
yeah, fair play. I mean, you've probably been the main host of this podcast for more episodes than everyone else, and well, you've proven why you deserve that title for sure. But there we have it. Jordan is our champion for this year. I think let's bring everyone back in just for the end. As it is our season finale, let's bring everyone back. Hello. Oh, we even got a special little a little graphic there.
You're right, Kieran.
Too happy.
Kieran, I tried.
He's got a sheep. He's got a sheep nose in the soundboard. It's pathetic. I can't, boys. Jake, what was that?
I know, that was awful.
That was shocking. Luke, throw me over a Newport question.
Oh, give me 2
that
seconds.
is actually pathetic, Jake. That is terrible.
Oh, your first one was pretty easy, to be fair.
What was the first one?
One Newport player was sent off 3 times this season, the most of anyone in the division. Who was it?
I'm gonna make the assumption that it's a certain player who it's not going to be Jameson because he barely played. I'm going to guess it's Kieran Brennan. It's got to be. There's no way. It's not Kieran Brennan, is it? I'll tell you the one thing I remember.
Where did you say it could be?
Omar Bogle.
Omar Bogle.
It was Kyle Jameson. He got sent off 3 times.
Kyle Jameson.
He barely played, but he was sent off 3 times.
He barely played, yeah. I remember one red card he got because he booted a ball into the Port Vale end. And he got a second yellow for it when it was incredibly funny. But he got injured and he missed half the season. That shocked me. Boys, that's mental.
Maybe it's not.
I only thought it was Kieran Brennan, boys, because I can vividly remember him getting... I'm pretty sure he got 2 reds. I can vividly remember that. I was just trying to piece together a third. But anyway, Jake, that was still horrible. Horrible. I'm getting more well. Sorry, you can't see the private chat, but apparently I'm getting more Welsh as the podcast is going on. Maybe it's because of my incredible anger.
The head loss.
Boys, I cannot.
It was worth clicking on this podcast alone, just that little outburst at the end.
No, it weren't, boys. This has been awful. This is because you got to understand, and no discredit, Jordan. Well done on winning and whatnot. Round of applause and whatnot. But you were still honking. Like we were all terrible. That was bad, really, really bad.
We've been shown
at times. I do feel like that when you haven't even got a question right on your own club.
Oh, yeah, good point. But at the same time, Jake got 1 right, and I think Jordan got 3.
So a Tranmere one. Do you have a Tranmere question?
Yeah,
let's find a Tranmere one. Tranmere
Where did we grade Nigel Adkins in the 4th tier fever ranking of managers?
No comment.
The less said about that, the better. Tranmere were knocked out of the EFL Cup in the 2nd round. Who did they beat in the 1st round?
Yeah, never mind. Let's just end the podcast.
It was at Accrington. You beat them 3-0.
Oh, we didn't do that in the league.
I remember, this is the annoying thing, I remember who we lost to in that cup. Garbage. Not that cup. FA Cup. One of the cup competitions, I remember who we lost to. I don't remember which one it was.
Which year? This year or 3 years, 4 years?
5 years ago, probably. Yeah, maybe this season probably isn't the best for me to be asking Newport questions because it's all miserable. I can tell you the one thing that I do know. Our top assister, Luke, have you got that as a question?
It was there.
Anthony Glennon. That's the only one.
Correct.
I know that one. I know that one. He's got 8.
He does have
for him.
eight.
Just say he upgraded. To be fair, good job. Hugh's been as good as he has been, but no, at least he can do all right.
I just realised there was actually one of the questions I was hoping would have came up if you had made the final. If you were to combine the scores of Newport's December games against MK Dons and Bromley, what would the score be?
If you were to combine them, I remember. Correct. So we beat MK 6-3. So
correct.
Are you saying the Newport score? Or just the combined scores of both?
So the combined scores of both.
Of both
if
games.
You were to
Bromley was a mental game. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure we scored 3. I'm pretty sure we scored 3 against Bromley. So I'm saying that we scored 9. I think Bromley scored 5. So 9 goals for Newport, 11 goals for opposition teams. I've not done math right. 8.
No, your maths is all over the place.
My math is all. So hold on. We'll
We've not just exposed you as a football fan, we've exposed you as a mathematician.
Somehow I passed my math GCSE. But anyway. So 6-3, and I'm pretty sure it was 5-3 in the other game.
Newport 6.
So Newport have scored 9, and then host teams, give me a sec, 8.
You were extremely close.
Come on. What was the score?
The only
What was the
thing you
score in
got-
the Bromley game?
You lost 5-2. You didn't get a third
Oh,
goal.
it was 5. I thought it was 5.
That makes 8-8.
No, because I remember watching that game, right? And I remember the 2 goals. But I remember we had so many chances, I just assumed we scored another one. Oh, I'm fuming, boys. That is terrible.
Can we
I
have
was
the
wrong.
I'm watching you work it out anyway, to be honest. It was quite fun.
Yeah, no, that was awful. I can't do math.
Do you
'Cause
have
I was adding up the home team scores, and I realised that we were at home for one of the games. So yeah, that was poor. I'm gonna say this, and I'm not gonna say this is rigged. I'm gonna say that this quiz was rigged, but I was confident Jack was winning that. And then the second I say that, next round he's out.
I did better in the second round.
Jake, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't tune in for the second round. I wasn't there.
That was my best
Be
bit.
honest.
Yeah,
I was doing you proud.
I disappeared for a round and I was just shouting and punching this green screen behind me. It's
I mean,
handy,
Jack,
guys.
I was convinced that if you got that final Kyle Hudlin question correct, you would have stayed in.
No, because I think, Ram, if we would have done this quiz off of who got the most right, Jack would have made that final. But because you did it in the format of game show that we can't name, it was based on us to vote people out. And you know the worst part? I could have stayed in if I would have just voted Jordan and been funny. It would have been 2-2. How, Luke? I want to know. It would have been 2-2 in that first round. How do you decide it?
Well, the easiest way to do it would be to use my tiebreaker questions, which I never had to actually
Go
explain,
on,
because
let's have
the
that.
tiebreaker questions were my way of making sure that my team gets into this podcast. So all the
right, let's do a tie.
questions are based on
Okay.
my club.
Okay, we're gonna pretend that I voted Jordan. It was 2-2. Let's do a tiebreaker. Let's do tiebreaker round because
Okay, well, to be fair, the first one is quite easy. Who was MK Don's top scorer?
Who was MK Don?
Oh.
Jordan, do you want to take hold of this one?
No. Alex Gilby.
Alex Gilby.
A
Scored
nice
11.
team, Jordan.
I believe Scott Hogan had 8, and he would have been second, if I remember correctly. Don't have that as noted. I
You know
just
what's bad?
remember it.
My first thought was Max Dean, who left a year ago. That was my first thought.
I think that might be the problem.
Yeah, this might be the problem. I'm thinking a year behind, boys.
But go on, one last one, just so my team gets a bit more of a mention. Which goalkeeper kept the most clean sheets for MK Dons?
Can I even name an MK Dons goalkeeper?
I can give you the 3 names if it
Go
helps.
on, give me the 3 names, and then I'm going to answer with something that's really funny.
So we started the season with Tom McGill.
Right.
He then went back in January, and we brought in Connell Truman.
Right.
And then towards the end, he lost his place to Craig McGillivray, who came back in.
McGillivray? What a silly name. I'm going to assume him because you stunk the gaff up slightly less at the end.
Yeah.
I'm going to assume him. But my other answer, Owen Goodman.
Overrated.
Good answer.
Anyway,
Was I right? Tell me if I was right.
it was McGillivray. He played 8 games in 5 of them. Who knows why we sort of dropped
My
him?
only logic to that,
if we kept him in goal last season instead of Philip
you would
Marshall,
have finished
we would
18th.
have
Anyway, yeah, the only reason that I've got that right is because you slightly stunk the gaff up last at the end of the season. That's like, I wouldn't have got it otherwise.
Well, to be fair, there is a question that is linked to that, which is how many goals have Dons conceded under Pool 1?
Ooh.
3.
How many of you? So the first game was Newport at home, I'm pretty certain. 0-0. The worst game of football I've ever watched. How many? Okay. That was near the end of the season. It was April.
You don't know it.
There would have been 4, 5 games, maybe. 2. I'll go 2. I'm not trying to logic it anymore. I don't know.
0. He
no
managed 4 games for us, and we haven't conceded in that time.
Oh, but at least I was right on that part. I'll say
we was one of them.
Yeah, I was going to say, between you could have figured out, like, we're nearly there.
Oh, Jordan, we should have just worked together for once.
Right, are there any other bonus questions people want, or are we happy there?
Luke, is this the way that you thought this quiz would end?
I mean, it's not. I mean,
Did you think
it's
that
obviously
we
had its
wouldn't
technical
be...
issues and its teething issues, all the rest of it, but it has been fun. I've enjoyed it. I hope you guys have enjoyed it, because it's been in my mind for a while. So
Okay, then second question, Luke. Did you all think we'd be as thick as we were?
I think you're being harsh on yourself there. Because like I said, I specifically designed it so it would be difficult for you guys. Because like I said, if I just gave you basic questions of, oh yeah, who won the league, you're all going to get that.
Oh,
I had to make it hard enough for you knowledgeable people to actually struggle a little bit. And I think that worked. Maybe a little too much at the beginning, but I think we got into the swing of it. I think once you got into a rhythm, you're all kind of fine.
I'm not going to lie. The only reason that I took so long in the first round, I misinterpreted what you said. I thought you said 2 minutes per person. I misinterpreted it entirely.
You very quickly found out that 2 minutes just was not going to work.
Not only did we find out that 2 minutes wasn't going to work, we also found out through multiple people, myself included, that we cannot logic things. If we don't know, we don't know.
That's very true.
It is difficult now when you are under pressure of a timer. It's hard to think straight because you're just thinking, I need this answer as quickly as possible, rather than trying to come up with any kind of logic behind it.
And then Jake managed to still somehow get one question right about his club.
About his own club, yeah.
On his own club. Bear in mind, he did not have a time limit. I'm just going to say, he did not have a time limit
in the final.
Honking, Jake. Absolutely honking.
Well, I mean, I did tell you, your notepad's not going to do anything for you. And it didn't.
Yeah, it really didn't say to me.
It was the only reason
I voted
a notepad. It's the only reason I voted him out. It would have been Jordan otherwise, and it would have mattered if he got them all right. I still would have put Jordan. Even if he got them all right, well, if he got them all wrong, I would suppose it's justifiable if I put Jordan. No matter what the circumstance was, if Jake didn't bring a notepad, I would have voted Jordan, is basically my logic.
Well, there you have it. I suppose you'll have to redeem yourselves next time we do something like this.
Never again. Never again. Please don't be an extra. Let's not do an extra.
Given that this was the first time we've ever done something like this, I think this has gone reasonably well. Obviously, we can fine tune it a little bit if that's something you guys at home would like to see. And if you want to see these guys embarrass themselves some more with a few more questions, then I'm sure we can arrange that. But of course, this was our end of season finale. As anticlimactic as the final was.
I tried to drag it out to be funny. That actual quiz ain't terrible.
But yeah, just to finish things off. Just a huge thank you to everyone that's tuned in over the course of the season to listen to us. This thing's grown massively over the course of the season, and we're of course hoping to repay you and bring you all the good content. That was bad English. We'll bring you more content next season.
How over 1,000 of you have managed to subscribe to a channel where Jordan hosts every single one I'll never know. Thank you very much, regardless.
And that was until I decided to actually get a life. So,
So what you're saying is you might be stuck with me more next season. Actually, maybe we shouldn't say that.
Yeah,
We'll lose half our
that's bad
subs.
news right there.
Yeah, maybe we should end the podcast now, guys, before we start. we just start digging a hole in preparation for next season.
But yes, the point is we're only going to be taking maybe 1-2 weeks off, just to reset. We'll have a little discussion amongst ourselves, and we've got a lot of cool stuff planned coming into next season that we'll be sure to keep you all updated with. But until then, this has been the whole fourth top tier Fever crew doing a little bit of a fun end of season quiz. Thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and share this with everyone. Comment, like, everything else. Jordan does this so much better than I do. I say it every time, but that's it for this season. Thank you so much, and thank you for listening.
Ta.
Ta-da.